Baris' Articus solitary New Year's Eve shook the fanbase and set social media ablaze with one question: what did it really say about Elsen Sengu? Was it love that faded quietly, or a perfectly timed campaign that did its job and moved on? Welcome to Turkish series stars. Before we dive in, make sure you're subscribed and have notifications on, because this is where the whispers turn into the conversations everyone ends up having. Now, let's get into the night that flipped every expectation on its head. As the clock counted down and fireworks crowned the skyline, people were sure Baris would be framed by glittering lights, laughter, and a romantic post that would keep hearts racing for weeks. Instead, a stark image surfaced: Baris alone in a gym, focused and relentless, pushing through sets while the world clinked glasses. No music swelling behind him, no champagne, no soft arms slipping into the frame. Just iron, breath, resolve. In the entertainment world, New Year's Eve is a mirror. It shows who's linked, who's lonely, who's selling a dream. That one image became a message. And the room went quiet where you'd expect applause. The first echo of that silence landed at Elsen's door. No post from her. No coy captions, no half-lit story hinting at a private toast, no gentle nod to a shared moment. She posted nothing about him, nothing about the night, nothing at all. And suddenly the absence of noise became louder than any love song. Had it already ended, people asked. Was this separation older than the rumor cycle? In the corners where insiders speak in sighs and raised eyebrows, the murmur was precise. This wasn't a sudden split, it was a dissolve, slow and clean, like steam leaving a window. New Year's Eve simply made it impossible to keep pretending the glass wasn't clear. For someone like Baris, whose image travels far beyond borders, a night alone at the gym is as good as a press statement in capital letters: I'm on my own, and I want you to see it. Then came the storm, not a surprise, just the flood people knew was coming. The claims sharpened quickly, that the romance had been a well-lit corridor for visibility, that the affection had a schedule, that the timing of certain campaigns aligned a little too perfectly with certain sightings. There were people saying Elsen used the proximity to Baris' international momentum to amplify her own spotlight, from trending hashtags in markets newly attuned to him, to brand collaborations that suddenly traveled farther, to festival invitations and red carpets that felt easier to step onto. Others pushed back with the obvious: Elsen has long been a star in her own right, a name that draws its own gravitational field. But the debate wouldn't let go. Was Baris an ally in love or an accelerant in strategy? And was that image in the gym just a clean way to say the plan had reached its end? These questions didn't fall from nowhere. New Year's Eve in this industry is a scoreboard. It's when power couples announce themselves, when new flames are tested in public, when exes reveal the shape of their new lives. People expected a glossy peek, an affectionate frame, maybe a playful nod to a shared joke. Instead, discipline. Instead, solitude. Instead, a man who looked like he had abandoned the room to find his breath. The absence of celebration became the center of the conversation. Was it solitude by choice, a retreat engineered to make a point? Or was it, as some suggested, the only option left after a quiet unraveling? Once the image settled, attention tunneled into the stillness on Elsen's side. In a world where everything is a post and every post is a clue, saying absolutely nothing is a statement. No warmth, no shade, no koi emoji. Just a blackout. And the longer it stretched, the more that silence became a sculpture everyone could interpret however they pleased. According to whispers we've heard more than once, the parting didn't come with fireworks or slammed doors. It was a drift, one long enough that by the time the year turned, the story was more or less over. The gym photo wasn't a surprise to people close to the situation, it was a coda. It read like a quiet period at the end of a long sentence. The conversation soon seized on a sharper thread, that the coupling had been managed as much as it had been felt. The choreography of sightings, the timing of interviews, the rhythm of brand tie-ins, all of it was examined the way fans analyze a final scene for hidden clues. There were timelines mapped and compared, weeks excavated from the archive. People noticed how certain announcements seemed to land at the exact moment the two were trending. Others insisted it was pure coincidence, or simply how modern celebrity works. But the claim that Baris had been a stepping stone took root in the comment sections where nuance goes to sleep. It didn't help that Baris himself said nothing. Which is, if you've paid attention, very much his way. He pivots between opening the door all the way and bolting it shut. This time, the message came without words. The choice to spend the most performative night of the year under fluorescent lights with nothing but effort for company was blunt and elegant. People close to him used a phrase we've heard before: when he senses he is being turned into a commodity, he narrows his circle and goes back to the basics. Work. Training. Focus. There was no need for a note to the press if every rep was a sentence and every exhale a line. Why did the stepping stone accusation resonate with such force this time? Partly because of scale. Baris's name carries global weight. It opens doors many don't even know exist. Pair that with a noticeable spike in conversation around Elsen in regions where his recent work pulled in fresh eyes, and the tidy quietness of the split, and you have a narrative that writes itself. Then add the starkness of that gym image on a night famous for togetherness. The optics were potent. That potency, though, is exactly why the backlash toward her grew heavier than it should have. There's a long, tired pattern of judging a woman's ambition as opportunism. The critique often forgets the body of work, the years on stage sets and sound stages, the grit that fame tries to hide. Plenty of voices pushed back hard. Advancing your career is not a crime, ambition is not a confession. But the counterpoint came fast too. Ambition and affection are not the same thing, and there's a line between partnership and PR. And that's where the argument dug in, not in facts, but in feelings. In the middle of it, one truth about Baris stayed steady. After breakups, he returns to routine. You see it every time, the hours carved out for training, the travel that's really a search for focus, the desire to build rather than explain. So a New Year's Eve surrounded by plates and bars instead of friends and music? It fits. Only this time, the timing turned a habit into a headline. The loneliness of the image, the deliberate privacy of it, made people wonder if he was done being misunderstood. There was no caption, but it read like a dare: interpret this however you want, I'm at peace with the version I'm living. And what about the romance itself? In the end, it may be archived with a question mark rather than a period. Was it love that arrived soft and left quieter? Or did the cameras and calendars play too large a role in the story people were shown? Maybe it was a real flame that also warmed a few convenient moments. Maybe it was two careers orbiting each other with genuine affection and practical benefits. What's certain is that the ending, however it happened, left empty spaces that invited everyone else to fill them. That's the thing about celebrity stories: silence is oxygen, and speculation is fire. The lines hardened into sides. One camp insisted Baris had been used, that the machinery of fame had turned him into a bridge others were too eager to cross. The other insisted this was just another round of punishing a woman for being visible and strategic, as if men don't do the same thing and get praised for it. Somewhere in between lay the truth neither side could claim: a relationship that was real enough to move people and complicated enough to fuel 100 different readings. So we're left with an image that won't fade quickly: Baris at the gym, the clock folding into a new year, the air crisp with effort, the camera catching not a party trick but a principle. And on the other side, Elsen's silence stretching like a curtain that might one day lift, or might just keep swaying. If there's a lesson here, it's simple. In this world, timing tells its own stories, and the absence of a post can be louder than 1,000 pictures. What some call proof is often mood dressed up as evidence. What some call strategy can also be two people making the best of a rare and complicated reality. Still, the echo remains. Was it love? Was it leverage? Or was it something that refuses to fit into either box? The sweep of New Year's Eve turned one private decision into a public mirror, and everyone rushed to see themselves in it. Perhaps that's why this particular tale won't go quiet soon. It isn't only about them. It's about how we decide who deserves tenderness and who deserves suspicion, who gets grace and who gets dragged, who gets to step away without explaining, and who must defend every breath. Meanwhile, the clock moves on. The projects will premiere. The stages will light up. The brand campaigns will roll out with perfect timing and immaculate gloss. Baris will keep showing up to the work that's always steadied him. Elsen will choose which conversations to enter and which to leave waiting. And the story we think we know will keep changing shape with every new image, every silence, every rumor that arrives late and leaves too early. Maybe, months from now, we'll look back and see that the truth was not hiding at all. It was standing right there in a room full of metal and mirrors, in the quiet restraint of a woman who didn't need to say anything to be heard. Maybe we'll admit that a breakup can be both a gentle ending and a sharp lesson in how power looks from the outside. Until then, this is what we have: a man alone on a night designed for display, and a woman who let the world ask its questions without feeding it a single answer. Some endings are explosions. Some are a door closing softly. This one, it seems, is a hallway with the lights dimmed, the footsteps fading, and the echo that keeps you turning your head. Tell us what you think. Was this a romance that simply reached its last page? Or did the business of being famous lean too heavily on the cover? Drop your thoughts below. Don't forget to like, subscribe to Turkish series stars, and turn on notifications, because in this universe, the quietest moments often tell the loudest stories. We'll be here to read between the lines the next time the cameras blink. Happy New Year!